Can you explain a little bit about how non-appropriated funds play into Coast Guard athletics and what that'll mean for success of Coast Guard in general?
It's very, very important, and it's vital to the growth of our program. When I conducted the study, one of the things that I discovered is of the 7 universities in the NUMAC who have both men's and women's program, our department was 4th out of 7 in the league, right in the middle. And out of that, I concluded that we were pretty much a middle-of-the-road, regionally exposed, fairly typical Division III operation. Unfortunately, we're not at a typical place.
Right.
We're at a place with different expectations. We have two, like virtually anything here at the Academy, we have 2 funding streams, if you will, our appropriated funds that come from government dollars that are assigned through the Coast Guard to the Academy. And then we have also non-appropriated fund sources, which are essentially funds that we earn through various sources, ranging from the fees. There's an athletic fee that cadets pay, gate receipts for games, game guarantees when you go on the road, things like that. There's all kinds of things that fund that NAFI side of the organization. Different fiscal years, different spending rules. As I just finished saying to our trustees, the good news is we have a NAFI element to our program. The bad news is every time we lose an appropriated dollar, we have to replace it with a NAFI dollar to stay even in these budget times. To keep up with inflation, basically every appropriated dollar you lose, you have to replace with about $1.60 of NAFI funding at this stage. But yes, we have really, through some very good work done by our Coast Guard attorneys, we've gotten a lot of latitude. We're in the process of getting more latitude to work through our standard operating procedures for the appropriated side, what they call the AAF, the Athletic Activity Fund, to be able to have more latitude there to pursue commercial agreements, sponsorships for want of a better word. And I think in time, a lot of that funding is going to be really key to the growth of the program, particularly since it's just a fact of life that in the Coast Guard, as in the Army, Navy, the Air Force, everybody's looking at a reduced budget climate. However, we still have the challenge of remaining competitively successful and maintaining a program that's fair to the participants. Here, the participants are 555 people. It's 60% of the core are varsity athletes. So it's important to really grow that side of the business, and the climate, both from our trustees, from our administration, from our legal sources, from places like Community Services Command at the same time, has been very favorable for that growth. A lot of my experience from West Point was in doing the same kind of thing. When I first came to West Point in 1999, similar situation, not quite as much economic pressure, but there wasn't a lot of effective sponsorship work or development work being done at that time. And we literally went through the same process. We had a non-appropriated operating procedure that we had to modify to get latitude under Army regulations. And here our lawyers have been great. They've spent a lot of time consulting with the lawyers at the DoD academies to figure out the right way within statute to do this. And we needed to get mobilized, but we didn't need to get mobilized before we were legally prepared to do that. So we did some things this year, and I think we can be much more aggressive with that in the future. And particularly, you know, I mean, with our relationship with the Alumni Association, that's very important, because not only is it it's a feel-good relationship in terms of the great affection that many alums who become contributors show toward the athletic program, but I think you would agree that the relationship has become much bigger than that. It's become a business partnership.
Exactly.
And through events like golf tournaments and with the growth of the Bear Club as a non-restricted athletic margin of excellence giving organization, we're developing new revenue streams. The key in the future will be to maintain the existing revenue streams operating at a fluent level, and then also to develop new ones to enable you to grow the program. And it's great that we have those opportunities. If you look at other departments on campus, you know, academic dean, Kurt Colella, is a great friend of mine, but he doesn't have, he can't sell tickets to the library. He can't do, he can't do sponsorships on that level. And I think there's tremendous growth out there for us because this opportunity has essentially, without things like golf tournaments, off-site activities being considered, there essentially have not been opportunities that have offered tasteful exposure here at the academy. And there's a real niche of corporations, I know from my previous service at West Point, I know that are really kind of aching for that kind of exposure. It's a niche market, but it's populated by some very, very strong brands with deep pockets.
That's right. That's right.
So I think we can really grow the program in that regard. We can and we need to.
That's right. One of the clubs you mentioned was the Bear Club, and that's a new venture between the Alumni Association and athletics. It's an opportunity for our alumni to support athletics. Can you discuss the Bear Club, how it was formed, the goals of the Bear Club, how that's affecting our cadets and our alumni?
It's really, in its basic form, it's a very simple organization. It's a membership-driven organization that allows principally alumni, but not